if a survival knife was a razor blade, only because I don't want to get lawyers involved.
Definitely.
No, don't. You're thinking too hard about it. No, you had it right the first time.
I'm gonna sneak up on it from a tree.
I don't know. Can we put a note on this and check back in 10 years and see what happened? Hey there, knife people. My name is Seth V, and welcome back to a special Tuesday edition of New Knives of the Week. These are the coolest new knives that just hit our shelves. First up, we have a trio of new CRKTs, all with Jade G10 handles. The first of which is this Michael Walker design, the Blade Lock. This is going to come in at $87.99 with 14C28N steel and Michael Walker's unique blade lock mechanism. This was re-released, I can't remember if it was this year or last year, but quite recently. And it's been a bit of a surprise success, especially considering that this design goes way back in the CRKT archives. This is pretty much exactly like it was originally, except those originals were assisted. These are fully manual. Here's how it works. The thumb stud is actually the locking mechanism. It's locked closed. You can't pull it open unless you depress that thumb stud, and it unlocks, smoothly rotates, and then pops into position. To close it, you just do the same thing in reverse. Push that thumb stud in, close it. You can kind of flick it open if you disengage it first. It's definitely smooth enough to flick, but it's a bit of a two-step process. It's very easy to just slow roll it open instead. Really satisfying smoothness, really cool. Kind of like Art Deco almost, Michael Walker design. Very emblematic of his stuff. He was a jeweler turned knife maker, a famously innovative maker who gave us things like the detent ball on liner locks that every liner lock now uses today. A total knife making legend and a very cool special edition from CRKT. Next in the Jade G10 series from CRKT is the Padawan. This is a Pedro Buzetti design. Kind of elegant flowing lines to it, and I think it works particularly well with the black stonewash and Jade G10 configuration. A bit of a futuristic vibe to it, kind of a refinement as well. It's got some details that you'd expect on higher end knives. This comes in at just $71.99, also with 14C28N and a steel frame lock handle. But those details are elevated. We've got a crowned spine. We've got sort of a bolster lock type arrangement to this frame lock, which means that there's really no wrong way to hold it. You can't pinch this frame lock closed. The action is snappy and dependable no matter how you're grabbing it. Makes for a nice experience, just pulling it out of the pocket, putting it to use. And I also like the extra detail on the pivot hardware there. It's subtle with the black coating, but it works well. Flipping action works great, ball bearings in the pivot. And you can really show off the character of Jade G10 with this design because the frame is actually skeletonized beneath those Jade G10 liners. You can sort of see through to where the support is. Very cool use of the translucence there. And yeah, super smooth. Not a fall shut action, but you can feel the silkiness of those ball bearings every time you flip. The third and final CRKT to check out today is the Richard Rogers CEO Microflipper, the smallest member of the CEO family, again with Jade G10 handles, 14C28N steel, and a price of $69.99. The CEO has been a huge success, and for as good as those original thumb stud versions are, the flipper versions are even easier to use. They just snap open super, super well. Definitely not as fall shut as that Padawan is, but yeah, with a little itty bitty blade like this, it's great to have such confident, kind of firm detent behind it, making the flip very secure. This has an ambidextrous clip that mounts at the back, so you can flip it around if you're left-handed. It's lightweight, small enough to carry in a shirt pocket, really living up to the executive knife name. And I also like that these have a kind of doctor's knife style butt end of the knife here for, the The doctor's knife would be used to crush up medication, a little compounding pharmacy on the fly, but a cool feature that's been inherited from traditional knives into the modern CEO Microflipper.
Yeah, my doctor doesn't do that anymore.
Yeah. Next, I also pulled 3 Kershaws, and these here represent 3 from just a huge number of new Kershaws that hit the site. We have tons of new variants of the Iridium, some new launch variants, but let's talk about these 3. This here is the Chive, a knife designed by Ken Onion that we don't see many new versions of anymore. So this version has all over blackwash finish, an asking price of $53.99, and a blade steel of 420 HC. So this is the smallest of the old Ken Onion and Kershaw collaborations, made in the USA, just like the Leak is, for example. It's got speed safe assisted opening for very snappy operation, and it inherits kind of some of the features of that era of Kershaw collabs. Tip down clip. On a knife this small though, that doesn't really bother me. Oftentimes these will be carried kind of loose in a pocket, in which case this added safety will be quite handy. You can just slide it on there, and that keeps the blade from opening up in your pocket. Slides off easily, lets you flip it open. Pretty cool utilitarian design. For me, it's a 3-finger knife. It's very slim, but I still get a good grip on it. And the recurve to this blade kind of amplifies the cutting power. So even though it's only about a 2-inch blade, it really snags into and pulls through material quite well. Nice hollow grind on it, thin blade stock. Definitely a utilitarian knife, and cool to see Kershaw still, releasing new variants of this popular little knife. Next up we have the Link. This version is in MagnaCut with milled aluminum scales and an asking price of $128.99. The Link is a great example of the value you can get from a USA-made Kershaw. It's not the cheapest USA-made knife that they sell, but it's one of the cheapest options with MagnaCut. So if you really don't want to compromise on blade steel performance, Kershaw's got you covered with an attainable option that is still an excellent design. The Link has the handle is slim enough, but it's broad enough to give a good grip. Gives me a feeling of a work knife, something that you can trust, you can brace on, you can push on, and it's gonna support hard work. The edge profile is pretty nice too, especially if you like a continuous curve to the edge. As you're rolling through cuts or pushing through some sort of material or slicing, that continuous curve helps keep the angle of attack different at every moment, so you're always kind of utilizing good slicing geometry. This has speed safe assisted flipping, very snappy. I wouldn't quite call it fail safe, but only because I don't want to get lawyers involved. It's certainly flipped open every time I've ever used a speed safe knife. And yeah, MagnaCut for 130 bucks. A pretty sweet deal on a great option for USA made EDC. The last in our Kershaw Speed Safe trilogy today is a new version of the Dawnstar. This is just a tweaked colorway with olive green GFN handles and a black wash blade. This thing comes in at $39.99. A really excellent price for the size and design here. That is a sizable 3.5-inch hawkbill blade, very, very aggressive. And I also think that this design is a great application of speed safe. For such an obviously tactical design, having that assisted deployment to help you just get the thing open no matter how you're attacking that flipper tab or no matter how you're holding the knife, just makes sense to me. I also like that the GFN handles are both grippy and lightweight. So even though the handle is a really decent size for a full-fisted grip, even a reverse grip if you wanted, it doesn't feel bulky. It still kind of has a nice lightweight and fast feel. And the blade steel on it is 8CR13 MOV. Definitely not premium, but more than serviceable for the roll, easy to keep sharp, and surprisingly tough for a stainless steel. The Dawnstar has really grown on me over the years. I think it's a cool choice if you're looking for a tactical knife like this, and definitely comes in at a really compelling price. All right, let's get weird with it for a second, because this is the NOC Knives MT-33.
Weird name.
Weird name, very weird knife, but pretty cool too. NOC Knives is a new brand to the KnifeCenter, and they are doing things a little differently. This right here is a crossbar lock, and it operates exactly the way that it looks. It's not just for show. Those are actual sprung pistons in there that are the spring resistance to power the crossbar lock. You know, if you're the type to worry about Omega springs breaking, this is so much more robust. You got, you know, little hardened rods running in and out of these pistons and some sort of coil spring back there, keeping the tension on. It feels very smooth and it's very easy to operate, but pretty cool that they just kind of committed to the bit. They put some pistons in here to make the thing work. The thumb studs are unique. They have this sort of tri-lobed shape. I don't actually find them that hard to use. You know, they're not great for slow rolling open. They get the job done, but not quite as intuitive as a round thumb stub. But if I'm just flicking this thing, works fine for me. And of course, thanks to the crossbar lock design, I can also just pull back on the pistons, fling it open that way. The weirdness continues onto the handle with a sort of segmented carbon fiber and titanium build here. We've got laser engraved front half bolsters there, a offset titanium clip that isn't so much sprung as it is weight relieved on the inside. There's a lot going on with this knife. The blade steel on it is M390, and the price reflects all that complexity, coming in at $339. Very nicely ground and finished blade. I'm sure that this shape would get a lot of work done. It's a nice modified Wharncliffe, maybe, with some decent clearance. If you wanted to work on a cutting board too.
Yeah, that's reverse tanto all day.
The tip's thin enough. I'm gonna go Wharncliffe on this one, but I get what you're saying. It's one of those hybrid designs, and yeah, it can do a lot of things. But really, I think if you're going to buy this, you're going to be interested to see how this thing works and enjoying how it looks. So yeah, check it out if that's you. Now, NOC Knives isn't the only company to be rethinking the crossbar lock, because right here I have the Lenta from Olive Knife. And while they're not really using pistons exactly, they are using a different spring setup for this crossbar lock. We've got two coil springs that you can actually see peeking through the frame here on either side of the bar. So again, instead of Omega springs, you have much more robust coil springs powering this thing. It's still smooth and easy to use, but yeah, should be more robust over time. And robustness over time is, I think, the reason behind a lot of decisions on this knife. Let me walk you through them right now. First of all, the phosphor bronze pivot washers on, around this very oversized pivot are also really huge. They're almost coming all the way out to the handles there. And Thomas will have to get this in B-roll, but yeah, you can just see the size of them there. They provide a lot of lateral rigidity to the design, really reinforcing the strength of this thing. I also like the treatment that they've given for the pocket clip. It's reversible. It uses the same Torx size bit, which is a T30, super huge. So you just unscrew that, flip your clip around, put the little filler plate in on the other side, and you got yourself a fully ambidextrous design. And then if we're talking about long lasting, we have to talk about this blade material. This is a toughened tungsten carbide, one of the most edge retaining materials on the planet. Tungsten carbide is what is used to cut hardened steel. So that'll give you a sense of exactly the kind of edge retention we're talking about here. Almost like if a survival knife was a razor blade. That's kind of what we're working with here. Look at the thinness of the blade stock on that. It's very thin and slicey and only has this one 0 ground primary edge on it. So some unique cutting characteristics going on here, a very cool overall package, and a design that's been really thought through from the outset. Next we have an Atom from Three Rivers Manufacturing. We just got a nice sized restock of Atoms from TRM. I picked this one up because it shows off one of my favorite G10 handle colors, the excellent forest green. Really don't see this color enough. It's such a nice muted but still vibrant green color. I just really like it. It also helps that the flat G10 scales on this are the most affordable version of the Atom that we have at just $230. These have MagnaCut steel blades as well, so I think that's an upgrade over the last batch, which all had 20 CV. Now, I think they come standard with MagnaCut. And yeah, if you haven't yet owned a knife from TRM, they really need to be on your list. They are one of the premier American knife-making brands. They're still a very small outfit, all things considered, but they're doing world-class work. They're building knives like no other company. You know, the slimness of them, the lightweight, the modularity of the scales. You can just pop this off by taking off the clip and 2 screws in the handle and put on any of the other scales they make. Anything from, you know, other G10 and micarta options up to fully milled titanium. Yeah, you can really get an Atom or a Neutron, their smaller knife, and trick it out any way you please. We are very happy to be carrying them and always love to see a restock. All right, everybody, brace yourselves for sticker shock on this next knife because we have a fancy and unique custom knife here. This is the Nick Chuprin Custom Ragnarok V3 coming in at a cool $1,295. What a knife, though. The smoothness is, well, it outmatches anything else on this table, as you can see from just the way it's effortlessly closing itself there. Titanium frame lock, all titanium milled everything. Even this hardware looks custom. This is not a off-the-shelf part. This has been machined to accept Torx bits. The pivot is insanely detailed too. We've got these like intersecting, interlocking gears going on. Amazing flipping action. And then you can see the stepped milling that's been done to create the cutting geometry on this blade, which is S45VN. I like the two-tone finish also, nice clean sort of hand rub satin on the flats and a acid wash, stone wash thing going on the main grind. Aggressively thin behind the edge too. You know, you're getting what you pay for here in terms of attention to detail that you want to see from a custom maker. The edge is as thin as it needs to be. Everything's as perfectly symmetrical as it needs to be. The feel is kind of incomparable to more affordable knives. If you're into custom knives, this is a special one. Next, we have a new version of the iconic HEST folder by DPx. This is going to have M390 steel, sculpted aluminum handles with this cool kind of pebbled finish, and an asking price of $225. Now, being aluminum, the spring tension is a little higher than on a titanium frame lock, but the action is super snappy and satisfying. It works great whether I'm flicking or flipping it open. Kind of slipped off it there. There we go. So the HEST, the claim to fame of the HEST is, well, it's an all-over kind of just great drop point, tactical knife design. Chunky blade stock is going to be strong enough for you, but M390 is going to have good edge retention. But it has all these multi-tool features. First of all, this notch here is both a pocket deployment hook and a bottle opener. We've got 3 different sized wire strippers here that also double as jimping. And then the lanyard loop is also a 1/4 inch bit driver. So don't forget about the glass breaker. That is technically a feature. And you got yourself something of a folding survival knife multi-tool here. Pretty sweet, and I really like the new handle texture. Adds a bit of grip to the aluminum without being too grippy, and just overall feels great. Next up, we have some new switchblades from Defiant 7. The first of which is this Tom Crine Alpha. So what we have here is a MagnaCut blade, a 3D contoured aluminum handle, and an asking price of $285. Now the Alpha is Tom Crine's signature custom design, but I don't think we've ever seen a production version, and definitely not a production version quite like this. It's a good sized grip and a compact but still capable blade. With just 2.8, 2.9 inches of blade, it's not super long, but it feels very substantial because of its breadth and because of this kind of big curvature to the belly there. And the handle definitely feels full-sized. Even though that is a compact blade length, I have no trouble getting 4 fingers on this handle. And the geometry, the sort of, slight pistol grip curvature to it really sinks it into your grip, points that blade forward, and gives you the feeling of added reach. It's just a compact, kind of pugnacious package here, especially with the very confidence-inspiring automatic deployment. Button lock, strong coil spring. Great spring tension on that. It definitely wants to hit home every time. Yeah, USA made, MagnaCut, Tom Crine. Awesome. And this here is an automatic version of Les George's Eagle design. Bigger to be sure, with a 3.8 inch blade. This version has S45VN steel. I really like the button lock autos that Defiant 7 is building these days. They're just doing such a great job. I mean, the spring tension is perfect. The build quality is there. They remind me a little bit of a ProTech, kind of the way that they're constructed with these 2 aluminum sides that come together to form the handle. But they have their own character. They're definitely doing things their own way, but still making very high quality pieces. Again, also made in the USA. And S45VN steel, I have a feeling, this is a prediction, that S45VN is going to be collectible in the future. Given what happened right when it came out and then MagnaCut coming so close after it, it sort of got supplanted in the market in a big way. And I don't know that the demand is going to be there to keep making it in the future, or even, Crucible made it. They're bankrupt now. The future of S45VN is uncertain. It's a great steel. I have it on a number of my own knives. So I'll be sad to see it go, but I have a feeling S45VN versions of things are going to be somewhat collectible in the future. But I don't know, can we put a note on this and check back in 10 years and see what happened?
I'm going to forget.
Yeah, me too. But the internet never forgets. This is going to come in at $305 if you want to pick one of these up. We also have it with a stonewash blade and a stonewash titanium clip to match. But these Defiant 7 autos are super sweet. All right, we have some new arrivals from Case. A bunch of new arrivals with these beautiful Tequila Sunrise jig bone handles. And this here is a sow belly standing in for the whole lot. The sow belly is an excellent 3-blade pattern. We've got a sheep's foot blade there, a clip point, and a spay. Oh, because it's a traditional, we get to use the traditional words for them. It just feels good to say.
We're still allowed in reverse tanto land.
This particular one is going to have a price of $89.99, but the whole, if you're shopping for these new Tequila Sunrise versions, prices will vary slightly from there. The sow belly is a sweet one. It's not as popular as things like the Stockman or the Trapper, but I really like the character of them. The more dramatic curvature to the handle, like a pregnant sow, of which it's named after. I just find it's a nice handle shape, and it works pretty well too. It's comfortable in the hand. If you got that clip point open, the curvature of it, sort of like that Tom Crine, just gives it a more substantial feeling, sinks it into this part of your grip and gives you confidence to use it hard. But yeah, new cases, Tequila Sunrise, beautiful jig bone. All right, it's fixed blade time. Let's kick things off with a new Jank Shank from Toor. This is the Jank Shank S, and these are going to come in with 3 inches of M4 steel, a price of $275 and either green or tan G10 handles. The sheath on these is kind of nice. It's black on the outside and green on the inside. They have felt linings too, so they're very quiet when you pull them out. Very stealthy. Nice little touch there. It also keeps the blades from getting scratched by the interior of the kydex. Of course, this has a pinky ring for retention. Nice drop point. Nope, clip point shape. Good utilitarian option if you don't want to go full karambit with your pinky retention ring. And M4 steel, very tough. Not a new super steel, but arguably like the original super steel, maybe. Extremely tough, good edge retention, terrible corrosion resistance, but because of the Cerakote, it's got good protection on it, so don't need to worry about that with the Jank Shank S from Toor. All right, this next one is very cool. I happen to like this version a lot. This is a limited edition Armiger 4 from Demko with orange handles, a camo Cerakote blade, and 3V steel, and a price of $220. Now, it's kind of funny to me because this knife cannot make up its mind of whether it wants to be camouflaged or highly visible. If you drop it in the foliage, you're going to see the handle, but the blade's going to disappear. I don't know. It's a combo that works for me. I do like it.
I think it's perfect because deer can't see orange.
Oh, there we go. Nice.
So if you're hunting with a knife rather than a bow or a rifle, they definitely
no, don't. You're thinking too hard about it. No, you had it right the first time.
I'm gonna sneak up on it from a tree.
Plunging attack. No, the Armiger is a sweet knife, no matter how it looks, but this version is pretty cool. Limited edition, like I said, and these are also USA made blades, so straight from Demko's shop. Hence the price and the materials, but you still get the great Armiger sheath that comes on the standard versions. So it's a hybrid design with a softer inner core and glass reinforced outer core. The benefit of that is the inside doesn't scratch your blade, doesn't dull your edge, but is still very strong and rigid, so it doesn't flex on you. Great design. I think it's actually a Demko patent. And yeah, the Armiger. Clip point blade, camo, orange, high vis, invisible. It's whatever you want it to be. All right, the last brand we have new on the table today is a cluster of new arrivals from BIGiDESIGN. The first of which is this Lookout. So the Lookout is a USA-made fixed blade. This new version features magnet cut steel, natural canvas micarta handles, and actually comes with 2 kydex sheaths. So rather than having an ambidextrous kind of mounting position on a single sheath, they kept things clean by offering you 2. So right out of the box, you get it set up for right-handed carry, designed to be carried inside the pocket on the right side. This is their cool titanium clip that facilitates that. It works great, by the way. Lots of retention, holds it in place and allows it to stay on the pocket and release the knife into your hand. But if you're a lefty or you want to go, outside the pocket, however you want to carry it, it comes with this alternate sheath mounted on the other side. Pretty sweet design and a nice pocket-friendly size while still being a really tough tactical Tonto design. All right, the next pocket-friendly fixed blade from BIGiDESIGN is a collaboration with Aux Manufacturing. Aux being short for auxiliary, I believe. This one features M390 steel, stone-washed finish on the blade, titanium handles, and a price of $220. I really like the ergonomics on this. It looks like like a dog bone or something, but in hand, it works kind of like a coffin-shaped handle. A good flare at the end works as a sort of a swell to the handle, I guess. Gives you something to hold on to there. Not too prescriptive to move around. And this blade shape is aggressively recurved and quite pointy. Also going to be very, very tough. This is quite a thick blade for how small it is. So it's got a weighty feel to it, a feeling of solidity, And even though the tip is quite thin in one dimension, it's actually rather robust in thickness, so it's still going to have some good durability to it. And like the other BIGiDESIGN fixed blade, this comes with 2 sheaths. Here it is, set up for right hand in the pocket carry with that same excellent titanium clip. You get one for left-handers too. The last 2 items on the table we're going to talk about together because they just go together. We've got 3 notebooks, come bundled for $25. One of them has a cool sort of a subtle, I almost said engraved. It's not engraved. It's not embossed either, but hopefully you can see on camera that kind of pattern to it. You got some cool big eye gear in there, almost like a deck of cards or something. But 3 notebooks to go with the new bolt action marker. Of all the big eye stuff, I'm actually most excited about this. What a cool concept. I love using a marker. When you need a marker, there's really no substitute for it. And now you've got something that isn't just a cheap plastic chassis around a Sharpie. This thing is full titanium. Comes in at $120. There are a few more versions in brass. You got some different finishes for titanium. You got a copper version. So, you know, different options to suit your taste. A nice long travel to the bolt there. And you can see the marker tip coming out the front there. It's fragrant too. I can smell it. One unique thing, it's going to be hard to pick up on camera, but when the marker retracts, it actually goes into a somewhat airtight space. A little lid comes over the inside of the insert there and closes it in to make sure your marker doesn't dry out while still having a really easy to use bolt action. So BIGiDE is going to sell refills of this for when your marker runs dry, and it's also going to come with an optional Timascus button if you want to go a little blingier for your pen. Well, that's going to do it for today's video, but there's a ton of new knives hitting the site all the time. Check out all the new arrivals at KnifeCenter.com. Don't forget about our Knife Rewards program, our new Sezzle payment option. We're always working to make things easier for you guys to get awesome new knives. With that, I've been Seth V. That's Thomas behind the camera. We'll catch you later.